Grand Rising, Grand Risings to you. It is yours truly, Dr. Zaya Kimmett, coming on today with another um, message, kind of expounding on what I spoke about on Monday. So we spoke a little bit about revenge versus justice, the role dark energy plays in that, and weighing the scales in terms of the cost when seeking out revenge and justice and things of that nature. And I wanted to come back again today and just really expound upon the necessity to transmute dark energy and the toll that it takes on your body when you just allow it to take up too much space. All right. So before I go any further, allow me to introduce myself. I am Zaya Samai Ferris Kim Haru Kimmett, and I help overgivers who struggle to speak their truth and be themselves, craft and implement the ultimate blueprint to total life transformation through alchemy, psychology, and herbalism. I was designed to birth and rear a new nation of leaders, thinkers, strivers, overcomers, and creators. And my mission is to teach those individuals how to wield their personal power and leverage it for their highest good instead of wasting all that magical goodness on empowering those who would rather see you remain a second class citizen while they enjoy the fruits of not only your labor, but your stolen inheritance. Okay. So, just to give an update on items and services that I have available right now, I do have the Transcendence Planner available on Amazon. I also have candles, soaps, body butters, and teas available in my Etsy shop. And so if you go to my Facebook or Instagram pages, you will find the links for those items. If there is anything that you've seen me post that is not available in the shop, just let me know and I can send you a link to have those things so that you can go ahead and get them ordered and have them shipped to you. I also provide local deliveries as well. So, today we're going to talk about the need for transmuting dark energy as well as knowing how to wield it. Okay. So, and we're also going to talk about the social constructs of right and wrong. So, Western society would dictate that right and wrong is this dichotomy, right? This division of two things in which you should always strive to be in the right and the light at all times. And you should never acknowledge or dabble in the dark. In most cases, this can be an effective way of going about life. However, that is a distorted and perverted version of universal law, which speaks about balance. Okay. Even when you think about the laws of physics, right? Newton's law states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction, right? And so, whether you choose to go about a situation from the perspective of rightness, right? Or you choose to go about a situation from a perspective of wrongness, there are consequences associated with each. And those consequences are not always comfortable. There are positive and negative consequences. You have to do the work of evaluating what is most effective. Okay. So trying to just paint your life with a one paintbrush of just I'm just gonna live in love and light and rightness and all the time. Yes, do that. But you have a right to protect your energy. You have a right to protect your loved ones. You have a right to call out injustice. You have a right to resist injustice. And you have a right to use the tools and mechanisms that God gave you in order to do so. All right. So always remember that. When you think about some of the ideologies that fall under, you know, always living in rightness and love and light, the first thing that comes to mind is the nonviolent movement of Martin Luther King. And while MLK's place in our history is valuable and important, it cannot go without saying that there were some dire consequences to going into the lion's den and intentionally allowing yourself to experience that extreme type of trauma and violence that was, laid upon our ancestors during the civil rights movement when they were performing sit-ins, or when they were performing marches and things of that nature. They had to go into training before they went out and sat at those counters and let those people assault them. They had to go into training and deep prayer. They even wrote out wills of testament, last wills and testament, before they went and did those marches or they did those freedom rides. And while it was a very noble and honorable and brave and courage thing that those individuals did, it inevitably inflicted a lot of trauma and damage on our people. And not only that, that energy was directed toward focuses that many contemplate and wonder today if it was even worth it. All of that energy and practicing nonviolence and standing in the face of discrimination and violence and taking that abuse and being a martyr, right? Thousands, hundreds and thousands of people standing up to be martyrs for the right to eat at the same counter with people who can't even cook as good as we do. For the right to spend our money in spaces that don't even feed our communities economically. To integrate schools to fight the issue of separate but equal, to only to experience not only experience trauma every single day at the hands of the administrators and the educators and the students who did not want Black kids in their schools. Not only that, but to also experience the rejection of having entire school systems shut down altogether, so they didn't have to integrate, and having kids have to go completely all the way to another county in order to be able to go to school. Some kids not even being able to graduate from high school at all whatsoever, right? Not only that, but the schools were they was the education was subpar. So we fought and put ourselves in the line of fire to be equal, right? And to be lambs to the slaughter, to be martyrs for things that some question even benefit us today, on certain levels. So those are some possible, that's just one example, right? I'm always welcome to feedback on the perspectives that I set forth here. Nothing that I say here do I deem to be absolute. I welcome discourse. I welcome intellectual challenges. I am an open-minded person, and so if you have a differing opinion, please, 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 please add it to the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Um, but yeah, so when I think about the possible negative consequences of always being in love and light and always trying to do the right thing and be a good person and be innocent and pure, sometimes the situation just don't call for that. Sometimes the situation for you calls for you to flip a table like Jesus. Sometimes the situation calls for you to beat them drums and call forth your fellow compatriots and set it off from here to Georgia. Okay, because that's what our ancestors did. Now, granted, it came with some dire consequences. Those uprisings that happened back in the day in which we resisted long and hard before we came to a state of docility now where we just take, we just continue to take abuse. It was a long, hard fought road of breaking our people. Okay, so I just wanted to provide some context for um the caveats and potential blind spots of submitting completely, totally, and wholeheartedly to social constructs that have the potential to cause you more harm than good. At all times, you need to be using your critical thinking. At all times, you need to be tapping into your intuition. And at all times, you need to be consulting your ancestors about what universal law has the most weight in this situation. How do other universal laws and social constructs play into this situation? What are the consequences, and what kind of consequences am I willing to accept, and what kind of consequences are just non-negotiable? These are the things that you need to consider. Okay, so now that I've provided a foundation and a basis for this conversation, now let's talk about actually working with the darkness. If there is any person alive that says that they never feel or experience darkness and dark energy within themselves, they've never felt anger, they've never felt bitterness, they've never felt um, like as if they were treated unjustly, any of those kinds of emotions, I'm inclined to believe that they are just in denial, because we all have been treated unjustly, and we all have had the anger rise up in us. It's natural, but it is what you do with it, that anger and that darkness. It's how often you feed it, how often you handle it, and how you handle it is most important. Darkness has to feed on low vibrational energy, or I would say, well, yeah, let's say low vibrational. I will talk about vibrations and frequencies another day. But for the purposes of this conversation, low vibrational energy is that dense, dark, dank, three-dimensional, and below energy that comes with devil territory. Devil territory. Okay, we all have it in us because we all have the yin and the yang within us. And there's a little bit of light in the darkness, and there's a little bit of dark in the lightness. But there are times when the darkness and the anger has to be acknowledged. It has to be honored, because if you ignore it, if you suppress it, then you are denying yourself, you're denying your humanity. You're denying the reality that you as a human being have certain rights, inalienable rights, right? Inheritance, like it's birthrights, all kinds of rights, right? That come with being a human being. You're denying all of that when you say, "Oh, I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm not gonna deal with it. Sometimes the path of least resistance is okay, but sometimes you need to really sit and acknowledge and honor the anger, the pain, the hurt, and the darkness that comes with that. You need to acknowledge how that truly makes you feel. You need to acknowledge the wrongness that and the transgressions that were heaped upon you. It's necessary to do that. And while it's necessary to do that, it is also necessary to externalize that, and so that it doesn't live inside your body. Because if you let the darkness live inside your body too long, then you're going to start making yourself physically, spiritually, psychologically sick. Okay? You're going to start developing cancer in places you didn't realize. You're going to start developing depression and insecurities about things that ain't never been a problem. You're going to find it harder and harder to be grateful. And then you're going to find yourself feeding yourself with negativity all day long. Your algorithm is going to be set to the BS of fighting, to the BS of racism, to the BS of sexism, to the BS of division in our communities, sodomization, jail videos, all of that low vibrational stuff that's fed into the algorithm is gonna be looking for you, and you're gonna find yourself feeding yourself with that every day. You're gonna find yourself complaining about things that only require you to take a simple action in order to rectify the situation. Dwelling in the negative energy too long makes you not only complacent, it makes you insecure, it weakens you. You can't just let the darkness sit inside you and live rent free. You gotta make it work for you. If you're gonna allow something to affect you and influence you in such a way that it is striking up such strong emotions, you better make it work for you. How do you make it work for you? You transmute it, baby. Transmute it. Externalize it. Transmute it. And use it to achieve your goals. Use it to ensure that it never happens to you or anybody like you again. Use it to teach. Use it to empower. Use it to break generational curses. Use it to strategically teach those a lesson of life. It is your birthright right to wield your darkness. You just got to be smart about it. You got to be smart about it. Because the consequences of being wielding darkness from a space of impulsivity, where you just taking action because of how you feel, just so you could feel good, That can cause you money. That can cause you time. That can cause you energy. That can cause you valuable relationships. Because a lot of times you overreact and you make decisions that in the long run cost you more than they benefited you. Right? It felt good to go ahead and slash them tires and bust the windows out his car after he cheated on you, but now you locked up. Now you done lost your job. Now you done lost certain licenses and income. And now your way, all of the progress that you made for yourself to live life more abundantly has been disrupted by your impulsivity. You get into a disagreement with a loved one, and neither one of you are bagging down. There might be some conversations where some attempts to reason with one another may have happened, but it didn't go anywhere, right? Because that's what happens when you let the darkness sit inside you too long. You get to being the victim. You don't even hold yourself accountable for the role you play in the situation. All you focus on is the wrong that was done to you and how that make you feel. Not thinking about the wrong that you did in the situation and the harm that you caused and how you made. That's how you wield darkness irresponsibly. When you wield darkness irresponsibly, when you harbor darkness, when you fail to transmute it, when you fail to be accountable, when you fail to be self-reflective, these are the pitfalls. You can't even hear reason anymore. And you close yourself off from reconciliation and possible apologies and things of that nature from individuals who may want to set the situation right, because now you bitter, now you can't hear nothing, now you going around being petty for no reason because you still holding on to a situation that your loved ones may have been trying to fix with you, but because you cannot figure out how to resolve the conflict while simultaneously honoring yourself and being accountable. It's too that's a lot of levels to a shift, baby. You got to do the work. So if you're not effectively transmuting on a daily basis, then your filter is dirty and, and your lens is cloudy. You're not seeing things clearly. You're not being realistic about the expectations of the situation and the outcomes attached to those expectations. That's the downfall of the pitfalls of wielding your darkness irresponsibly. You know, and every now and then you you might need to add out, because the reality is we are in a society that is constantly conditioning us to be low vibrational, constantly conditioning us to compete with one another, to harm one another with our words, harm one another with our actions, to be divisive, to have clicks, to pass judgment. So, if this is the energy that you have to go out into the world with every day, and there are very few people that you can trust, then yes, it is necessary to arm yourself with darkness. Yes, it is necessary for people to know that They just might F around and find out today. People need to know you ain't stupid. They need to know you ain't no fool. They need to know you ain't no pushover. But there are levels of responses. If somebody make a joke about you that you don't like and you decide to respond by hitting them, by yelling and cursing, that might be a tad bit of an overreaction. When you could have just checked them back or told them that you don't play like that and tell them not to play with you no more. Simple. It's levels to this, baby. It's levels to it. And it takes some time. And it's not always gonna be easy, depending on your path. But you need to know how to transmute your darkness. So here are some suggested remedies for how to transmute dark energy and use it for your good. Number one, start by being very, very, very real about how you feel. Identify the emotion. Put it in a write it down and journal it. Okay. Well, or write it down on like a loose leaf sheet of paper that you can burn when you're done. Right. I feel insert emotion because insert situation. Trace the trauma. This reminds me of the time when blank, because the emotions that you are feeling in a situation in the present are always triggered and attached to something in your subconscious in the past, right? Get down to the just allow your spirit to continue to scribe out that anger and that pain and all of that until you can't write no more. Cry through it, cuss through it. If you got to put some music on, if you got to burn the candle, if you got to burn some sage or Palo Santo or some kind of ancestral mixing remedy that works for you, then do that. Then once you get done, set fire to that thing and dispose of it away from your home. Dispose of it away from your home. Smudge your space out so you can free it and clear it of that energy. And then after you have released all of that, now you sit down and have a conversation with yourself about, okay, I was I was powerless in that situation. But now I have wisdom and experience and insight on my side. So what can I do to ensure that that doesn't happen to me again? What can I do? How how can I anticipate if this is something that's ongoing? What how and when do I anticipate the possibility of this situation arising again? What will I say to combat that negative energy? What will I do to combat that negative energy? It's called the Rise Pillars of Transcendence. This is the I, this is the installation, and the S of speaking your truth, right? This is you brainstorming and creating. E is elevating your behavior. That's when you actually put the plan in action, track your progress, and adjust accordingly. This is what I help you with once you take the transcendence journey with me. So, other things about wielding the darkness. I would encourage you to look into your heritage and past generations and look at how they wielded darkness effectively and how they did so ineffectively. right? So you've done your journaling, you've done your releasing, you've created your transcendence plan, you've implemented your transcendence plan, you are working through it, reflecting and refining where you need to. But now it's also important to do research. Find tools and, activities and behaviors, habits to implement to help you transmute and filter that energy on the regular. If you a person who gets physical when you get angry, you probably need to take some boxing classes, take some martial arts, um, get you a boxing bag and some gloves at the house. Find something that you can safely beat up without hurting yourself, hurting your property, and hurting other people and going to jail. Okay. If you are a person that gets real reckless with your mouth and you hit below the belt and you say things that you shouldn't say when the darkness arises within you, hmm, I would encourage you to consult the four spiritual laws of prosperity and the four agreements. Okay? The four spiritual laws of prosperity are going to train you how to practice forgiveness so you can get that bitterness up out of you and stop talking so negative all the time. Gonna help you tap into your gratitude and also tap into your empathy. When you forgive people, you part of that is tapping into empathy enough to empathize with how this person possibly could have gotten to a place where they could have harmed you the way that they did. Overstanding that and releasing it so that you can have space, right? It's not to vindicate them for violating you. It's not to release them of accountability for betraying you. And it's not to make space for reconciliation, to invite them back into your space for them to do the same things again. It's just to simply intellectualize what was happening from their perspective. Have a little bit grace for that and release it so you can go about your business. And then set your boundaries accordingly moving forward. The four agreements requires us to be immaculate with our words because our words are that shu and tefnut energy. It is air and warmth and humidity working together to manifest. When you think something, that's the beginning of its formation. When you speak it, you have now sent out a beacon to the universe, and at some point, it is going to come back to you. Okay? And so, if you're constantly speaking negativity out your mouth, bitterness, unforgiveness, judgments, complaining, and all of these things, if you constantly send that out into the universe, it's gonna come back to you, baby. Pressed down, shaking together, and running over. And in some cases, you ain't gonna have no room to receive. You're gonna be so overwhelmed with calamity and all of these other things because you didn't do the work of just, being proactive and transmuting it and turning it into something that's healthy for you. Turn all that negative thinking into positive affirmations. It doesn't have to be lies and unrealistic affirmations. It just means you shift your lens just a little bit. Reframe the way you see the situation and the way you think about the situation just a titch for you to have power in the situation, for you to have optimism in the situation, for you to have gratitude in the situation, for you to have some type of balanced form of action to take that benefits you. If you're gonna hold on to your anger because it's just not time to release it yet, then use that anger to propel you every day to take actions to help yourself, heal yourself, to exercise, to meditate, to speak positivity over yourself, to get more discipline so that a person can never judge you again. They can never talk about you again. They can never exclude you again. They are never out because they won't be able to outwork you. Let your anger and your bitterness drive you to excellence, to power and dominion and high status and influence. And then when you get there, be the person that you needed when people was doing you wrong. That's how you transmute darkness and negative energy and bitterness and anger. You master the domain in which you keep constantly getting attacked. That Heru Kuti, that Samatawi. And then you implement a new way of doing things that sets a trend in which others do not have to experience what you experience. That's all I got for y'all today. You wait and you would like to consider taking the Transcendence Journey with me, you can start by taking the free metaphysical survey at www.risewithziya.com. That's risewithziya.com. Make sure that once you finish the survey, you check your email for your results and the link to schedule your free consultation where I will break down your sub scores, and then we can discuss some next steps on the transcendence journey that are suitable for you. You can also check out my Etsy shop where I actually have handcrafted, Reiki infused healing systems and kits that also will help you on the transcendence journey. Okay. All right. I'm almost to my 9 to 5 this morning. So I will close by saying, Hotel, thank you for joining me. I love you to life. And I look forward to taking this journey with you. I see you on the transcendence journey, guys and goddesses. Peace.